Hello and welcome to IB Times TV. I'm Sally Turner, joined here today with Patricia Ray Mellon to discuss a little company called Starbucks. Patricia, like me, you're a foreigner, so you're not used to seeing Starbucks on every corner growing up. So what was it like walking into that first Starbucks in Spain?
Well, I got to Madrid as a freshman in college. I was raised in a small town in Spain, so that for me, like, I had no idea what was normal and what wasn't normal in Madrid. Like, what coffee shops were there and weren't there for generations. So for me, it was just one of many. I walked into that one, like, could have gone to the one next door, and it turned out to be the Starbucks, which I had never heard about, and it was just so confusing. Like in Spain, coffee served in a small mug, same size, either with milk or without, and that's it. And that's what I grew up seeing my dad do, right? And then I go order, I wanted a coffee with milk, and the girl starts asking me, oh, what size would you like? Would you like whipped cream? Would you like an extra shot? Would you like some vanilla flavored syrup? And I was like, I just wanted a cup of coffee. It was just so confusing. It was so confusing.
And Starbucks is all over the place, all over the world, in fact, and they've recently announced that they're going to open a store in Colombia, which is regarded as the capital of the world in terms of coffee. So how do you think they're going to have to adjust their business model to get a following?
Well, I guess they'll have to do as they've been doing all along, which is adjusting as they go. They'll just start with the one store in Bogota next year and see how that goes, see what people order, what people want, what they don't want, and then they will adjust as they go. That's usually their strategy.
And they're not going to open till next year, as you said, but what are people saying about it? Are people for it, against it? What's Colombia doing?
Well, it's funny because most of the people who've been concerned about, oh, this is an outrage, this is the capital of the coffee of the world, how are we going to do the chain mass-produced stuff instead of the artisanal thing that they've been doing and stuff, that's been international. Within Colombia, they've actually been pretty open to the idea. They're like, no, this is going to raise the consumption of coffee. Bogota, like Colombia, the tourism is increasing. Like that whole stuff, like people were scared of going to Colombia and stuff, it's because the crime rate has descended a lot in the last few years. There's a lot more tourism, and tourists are a huge boost for Starbucks. So actually the country's been really pro it. Even like coffee growers, because Starbucks is the largest buyer of Colombian coffee in the world, they're also pro it. It's like more Starbucks means more business. So honestly, like at least for now, people are not really opposing it.
And as a company, Starbucks is very consistent. Their menus more or less are the same, but they do adjust. So how much do they adjust for each country they're in?
Mostly, they adjust in most like atmosphere and decoration, and not so much in menu. You see little changes in menu from country to country, but mostly what I've seen is like in France, for example, where like I think like in the US, Starbucks is a daily thing. It's something that people grab on the way to work. But in Europe, mostly, it's a special thing. It's something you make plans for, because coffee is that. You sit down, you talk to your friends. It's something you lounge, and something to celebrate and to, like, you know, convive around. Whereas here, it's just so quick. It's just one thing. Your caffeine fixed, and then you go. So, for example, in Europe, most Starbucks are, like, more welcoming. They have more couches. They're bigger, dimly lit. They're beautiful. They're inviting. They're like havens where people lounge for hours and hours and hours. So that's one thing in Europe. Then in Asia, there's more tea. Because Asia is still like, they consume a lot more tea than coffee, so there's a larger tea selection, for example. So they enter a country, identify what people want, and then they slowly adjust to it without never losing their Starbucks experience flavor they're known for.
And it has been 10 years since a very confused Patricia walked into Starbucks, into Madrid. You've also worked there.
I did.
So how do you now feel about the American chain?
Well, I went from, very confused first-timer to a barista for a few years while I was in college, and now I guess you can say I'm a customer. I mean, it's not something that I do every day, but yeah, I will crave the occasional grande caramel latte like the rest of us.
Yum, that sounds good. We should go get one after this. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you.